Almost there. I think we're live now. Hi everyone. Happy Sunday. Good afternoon. Welcome to Black on Both Sides with the Black Public Relations Society of LA. I'm glad to have you all here. I'm really excited to have our first guest up, or actually our second guest, for our guest today, Nicole Friday of the American Black Film Festival, to talk all things with us today, partnerships and collaboration, and what that really means for the Black community, especially in this current climate and beyond. So first, I just want to say welcome, Nicole. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I am doing well. I'm hanging in there. I was telling everyone watching, I was telling Nicole before that I'm just taking it day by day, I think, as most of us are these days, but I'm doing well. I'm actually really excited to have you on, as you know, and really glad that you could make the time for us to have this conversation today. So wanted to introduce you as first the general manager of ABFF Ventures, but also the co-founder of the American Black Film Festival. So I know I've been talking a lot, but I wanted to actually give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about yourself and your background and your role at ABFF.
Okay. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So I am, as you mentioned, the general manager of ABFF Ventures, which is the company that produces the American Black Film Festival. We have 3 properties, actually. So we have the American Black Film Festival that takes place annually in Miami, but not this year because, as you know, we're in a pandemic. So a lot of the festivals and events, live events, have gone virtual, which we're doing, and it will be virtual. We'll have the ABFF online edition that's taking place on our platform, abff.com, August 21st to August 30th. So really excited about that. And what we plan on doing with that is having some of the, we're going to try and mimic as much as we possibly can. So everything that you would experience at the festival in Miami, we're going to try and bring it to the online edition. So that's what we do with, that's one of the we have. We also have ABFF London, which we launched last year in London. And it's basically taking some of the best things from ABFF in Miami to London and really traveling to the international platforms. And basically what we do there is we have we have for some reason I'm losing
No
my
worries. No, it's okay.
we have not an award show, but we have a premiere, a premiere
Yeah.
that we do there. Last year we have Black and Blue, which was a Sony. Sony is our founding partner for ABFF London, and so we had Black and Blue, which is Deion Taylor's, and Tyree and Naomi Campbell, Naomi Harris are actually the stars of that film for their premiere. And we also had some panels and conversations, and we also screened some independent films that we took from the festival. And the other property that we have is ABFF Honors, where we honor Black excellence in Hollywood. And this past year, this was actually probably the last event that we had, or the last Black event, physical event that we had this year, which was in February, and where we honored
there.
Yes, where we honored Lena Waithe and Cynthia Erivo and Louis Gossett Jr. and Jamie Foxx, and also the cast of HBO The Wire. So those are the three properties that we have at ABFF Ventures, and the American Black Film Festival being our largest. And we're in our 24th year, so we've been doing this a really long time.
I was just gonna go into that. So you all have been around doing this work in sort of like the Black arts and culture space for a very long time. And obviously you started out as ABFF, the festival, and sort of as you grew, were able to spawn these other entities and properties under your belt. But can you talk a little bit more about sort of like the why behind ABFF, why it was founded, how it was founded, sort of like the mission in the first place?
Yeah, it was founded in 1997, and actually it was my husband who founded it, and then I came on, he officially founded it, and I came on board a little later on after that. And so it really was started because he went to Sundance back in 1997 and saw very few of us represented there. And there was a film that won back then, which was called Love Jones, which is a favorite.
Classic.
It certainly is a classic. And it was a film that won the audience award back then. But the problem was there still was lack of representation. We were not present. We were not there. So he thought, well, we need to start our own film festival. And so at the time he was in advertising, and he went back to his boss and said, we need to start a film festival that represents our culture, our kind, our stories. And so it started in Acapulco back in 1997. So it was originally called the Acapulco Black Film Festival. And so we were there for 5 years. And then it grew. It started with 100 people, and then it grew from there, and it just became a little more difficult to really expand in Acapulco. And we thought that it was something that should be brought stateside. So we brought it to Miami. And Miami has actually been our home. We've had a couple of times where we were in Los Angeles for 2 years, and then we were in New York for 2 years, but really Miami has been the base of where we've been for the past 24 years with, like I said, a few other places. And so what we decided to do after 24 years of doing this, we really wanted to create a platform where emerging artists could come and tell their stories. So we have different partners like HBO, where we've done the short film competition for 23 out of those 24 years, and people who've come through that program who have gone on to be some of our most respected and successful, most respected and successful people are people like Ryan Coogler, we all know, who's the director of Black Panther. He's actually only had 3 films, and so he won the short film contest with a film called Big, and then he went on to make Fruitvale Station, and then went on to do Creed and then Black Panther, which obviously took him to a whole nother level. People like Stephen Caple Jr., who also came through that program, who did Creed 2. We've had so many people that have come through ABFF. I mean, Kevin Hart, we have a comedy show also with Comedy Wings with HBO. Kevin Hart, we didn't have the show at the time, but Kevin Hart came through our comedy show that we had. He didn't win, which is funny, but he is winning now.
He's okay, yeah, I think he's okay.
I think he's just fine. But we've had people like that. I mean, Anthony Anderson, we honored Anthony Anderson. It was his first award. It was a funny story because back in Acapulco, we honored Anthony Anderson when he was doing, I don't know if you recall this movie, but it was called Kangaroo Jack. And he was in Australia shooting it. He flew from Australia to Acapulco, which was a very difficult thing to do at the time. And we honored him. And so we have honored so many people at the festival, as well as through our ABFF Honors platform. but it really was an opportunity for us to sort of level the playing fields. One of the things that Viola Davis said several years ago when she won, and I think it was an Emmy, or maybe it was a Golden Globe. It was a Golden Globe. She won a Golden Globe. She said, you know, the difference between white actors and black actors is really opportunity. And so what we wanted to do, what we have been trying to do with ABFF, is really create opportunities for our stories and our artists.
I love that. I love that so much. And knowing that you all have been at the forefront of so many pieces of art and entertainment and careers that we all love and adore today, I think is a really important thing to note about why partners from our community are necessary, right? We're at the front lines to identify like who those emerging artists are, and we can sort of help as much as we can amplify them to a place where their career can take off. So we applaud you all and the work that you've done and the work that you will continue to do.
Thank you.
I do want to, I know you mentioned at the top when you were going through the different properties of ABFF, how because of the pandemic, we won't be in Miami, unfortunately, this summer. So I do want you to kind of talk a little bit more about how the pandemic has sort of impacted the work that you all do and any sort of like pivots you've had to make, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. We definitely had to make some pivots because we would have been in Miami. The festival would have taken place 2 weeks ago in June. And so we all went through a period of withdrawal.
Yeah.
We weren't there and we didn't know what to do with ourselves. We're like, okay, oh my gosh, we're supposed to be in Miami right now. But you know, life goes on and you do have to make adjustments. So what we've done, as I mentioned early on, is we're going to do an ABFF online edition this year, which will happen August 21st to the 30th. And it will be on our platform. So you'll go to abff.com and there'll be more information that's forthcoming about that. And so we really wanted to bring the conversations, bring the panels, bring all type of virtual experiences, the business of entertainment, the networking, all of that to the screen virtually. And so that's what we're trying to do. And what's great about this is there are so many people who aren't able to attend ABFF in Miami in June for various reasons. And so what we're excited about is that this gives them an opportunity to really see what it is that we do. From a virtual standpoint. I mean, we're an international film festival, and so we receive submissions for independent films, and of course, we'll show independent films and studio premieres. We receive submissions from all over the world. But many times people from all over the world aren't able to travel to Miami, and that's one of the other reasons why we started ABFF London, because we really wanted to bring some of what we do to the international market. And so that idea started, we have been thinking about it for a long time, but that idea started out with us traveling around to different countries. But once we realized in London is like a hub. So we had so many people who traveled to that festival from Africa, from Paris, from different parts of the UK, from Spain. I mean, when we actually took a survey at one of the conversations or one of the panels and said, you know, where are you guys from? And people stood up and shouted out the different places that they were from. So we were quite impressed and realized that really London is the place that we need to be. And so we're hopeful next year that we can get back to it. That was in September of last year, would have been in September of this year, but that's been postponed. And so we're hopeful that it can get back to next year. We'll see what next year looks like, really. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. So essentially, and it makes sense, right? A lot of properties or things that were events or experiential have had to make pivots and turn them into virtual experiences. I want to ask you, knowing that you get a lot of submissions from like independent filmmakers and films, with sort of like event or film festivals not taking place, is there an impact on sort of like these filmmakers that maybe we all don't see? Like without having these film festivals, is the visibility or the chances of these films being picked up hurt at all? Sort of like what's your POV on that?
Well, I think because everyone is is affected by this pandemic, and everyone has had to make some sort of pivot, whether they're live events or whether they're streaming companies or whether they're distributors. Everyone has had to make some sort of pivot. So I think that what's great about this is, you know, in terms of ABFF Online Edition, we're accepting a lot more films than we would normally accept at our live event, simply because we don't have this, we wouldn't have the space to screen all of those films. But virtually, we have a larger space. It's a larger market. So it gives filmmakers the opportunity for their films to be seen, I think, by more people, and certainly by distributors who may or may not be, you know, attend ABFF or be able to attend ABFF. So this gives them an opportunity to let more eyeballs see their film and then possibly get purchased by a distributor.
Okay, so it's having a positive impact in a way.
I would think that it's having a positive impact in a way, you know, because again, those who aren't able to attend Miami or a physical event, whether it's our festival or another festival, they have an opportunity, if it's going virtually, to see more submissions, to see more artists.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, I think, like a positive at least, and glad that we have you all to still sort of get those films seen. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that we've been talking about, Nicole, is sort of like the roles that Black community partners play in telling our stories. I know that's something that I am a big proponent of, especially when it comes to my end working with clients that are looking to reach a Black audience via like a publicity or PR campaign. Always wanting to work with actual organizations or experiences that already exist. And I'm sorry, I think people can't hear me. I'm getting a comment. Can you guys hear me and Nicole?
I can.
Okay, I think I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you fine. If you guys
are they not hearing us on Facebook?
Let me just check. I think maybe there's some background noise. I don't know if you have a window open.
Oh, I do. I'm at my door. Is it too noisy? Sorry.
Possibly. Sorry.
Let me move.
Technology. Sorry, guys.
All right. Hold on.
This is live. This is what you
This is live, guys. Okay.
No worries.
Stand by. Okay, that's the birds. You probably hear the birds.
They sound lovely, though. It was very calming to me.
You know, we're all stuck in the house, so I've been trying to be outside as much as possible because
yeah,
you get tired of just being in the house.
Yeah, at least you can be outside in the safety of your backyard.
Exactly. So the fresh air is, you know, is nice. All right, I have to make sure that I came into my bedroom so that my kids wouldn't disturb me, but I don't want to show my bed and all that, you know. Okay, hold on. I know we're live. Hey guys, I hope that you're enjoying. Oh wait, hold on. Hang on. Okay, is that better? Hopefully.
I think so. You guys just let me know if that's better. But so back to the question that I asked. Thank you for that adjustment. The role that you see sort of like Black organizations playing in reaching the Black community, especially when it comes to like PR, communications, marketing campaigns. Like, why should clients and companies consider Black orgs first?
You mean in this state, in this pandemic, or period?
Period, but I think especially in this pandemic as well.
Well, I mean, I think that you know, Black organizations need resources, and especially with us being a live event. I'm sorry, I'm fixing my hair too. Well, that's being a live event company, you know, and live events are not happening. I think that it's important that companies to continue to support, you know, efforts, our mission. I mean, one of the things that we have been really, I feel like the light keeps coming out, but one of the things that we've been really fortunate to do is we've been very fortunate to have our our partners, our sponsors continue to support us through this effort. So, and we've actually gained a couple of other sponsors, but HBO has been a longtime sponsor. They're our founding sponsor. So when we had to make our pivot, they were right on board. Comcast, NBC Universal, when we had to make our pivot, they were right on board. UMC, there's so many people, Netflix, there's so many people that said, we're still with you guys, although that, we're not able to go to Miami, and we've all been very disappointed over that. I mean, so many things that have happened, we've all been affected. So it's really important to continue to support Black organizations and Black causes, because we need a platform, we need an outlet to be able to continue to tell our stories, even if we have to make a shift.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly, and love that you brought up that you have some partners and sponsors that have stuck with you through sort of like this new climate, and you've actually been able to pick up some new ones, which is great to hear. What are your thoughts, and I'm trying to be careful in how I phrase this question to make sure it comes out correctly, with sort of like the Black community being at the forefront of things right now because of the movement happening. Do you feel like partners that have reached out to you recently, or have you seen an influx of partners reaching out to you recently with this sort of climate change? And I just want to be careful in how I ask that. Have you seen a change at all, an influx at all? What are your thoughts around it?
No, we have not seen a change or anything. I mean, the sponsors that we have now, or the newer sponsors, we were already having conversation before any of this civil unrest started, or the wokeness started. So no, that hasn't affected us. But we're happy that this has happened, because we think that it's time. I mean, I think that there are shifts in life that really jar people, and this is certainly one of them. And I think that these companies that are now sponsoring things that they would not have ordinarily sponsored in the past or supported in the past is a good movement. I think whether it's affirmative action, or if it's reparations, or whatever box you want to put it in, I think that they should have been doing. And I think here's the thing: I hope that they don't stop. I hope that this is not a fad, or a fleeing moment, or a temporary thing, or a box checker. I hope it's one of those things. I hope that they really understand that our stories, our platforms, our organizations, our companies are important. And our voice matters. So I hope that, we were talking offline about Juneteenth and how a lot of companies have made this a holiday. And in Hollywood in particular, because that's where we are, and that's the business that we're in, or at least the business we're in, we're very bandwagony. And I hope that this is something that's sustainable, and not just, for 2020. Or, like I said, something that where they feel like they have to check the box.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you, and on the same page. And it's like, what are your thoughts, especially in the Hollywood sphere, entertainment world? What can we all do to make sure that it's not a fad, and that we continue to hold these companies, these studios, accountable to treating Black people equal in this?
Well, I mean, I think that there are a couple of things that have to happen. And we always talk about, having a seat at the table, and that's real. I think that companies, organizations have to hire Black people. It's impossible you have to have Black input, so to speak, and it's funny because I was talking to someone today, and they said, she said, any Black person that's at a company, any management executive level person that may be at some of these companies, and they may be the only one, all their white counterparts are coming to them saying, okay, well, tell me what we can do. How can we do? How can we help? What can we? They're all saying that. And so she said to me, I've had to say to them, I am a Black professional. I am not professionally Black.
Okay. I like that.
Right. And so,
I like it.
thought that that was funny because what she was saying was, I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you some of the things that you can do. And you can start with, how about hiring some executive level Black people, and keeping them in positions. And so when it comes to Hollywood, you have to hire Black storytellers, and not only Black storytellers, and not only people in front of the camera, but people behind the camera, people, executives and people who are, I forget what you call them. I want to say bottom line, but I don't think it's called bottom
Below
line.
the line.
Below the line, thank you. People who are below the line, you have to hire all of those type of people, and you have to keep them in those positions so that when these decisions are made, recently there was all these animated characters who are coming out and stepping down from Big Mouth and Central Park and Cleveland, the Cleveland show, the guy who plays Cleveland on Family Guy, I should say, and also The Simpsons. Why didn't you hire Black characters? I don't understand that. Why didn't you hire a Black actor to voice those characters? Is it important? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Some people feel differently about it. But I think that if there's an opportunity, there's a lot of there's a lot of opportunity for white actors.
Yeah.
There's fewer opportunities for Black actors. So if you take away these opportunities where you can hire a Black person, then there are less jobs for Black people. Mm-hmm. And so when you decide that you want to hire another white executive because he or she is a friend of a friend, or because they're, father or mother or whatever, because they have lineage, then you're not giving Black people an opportunity, or other ethnicities. It doesn't have to be a Black person. I mean, I think that you have to mix it up. It has to be other people besides white people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just going to go back to all of those were amazing points. The point about the Cleveland actor stepping down from voicing, I don't know if it was just me. I didn't know that man wasn't a Black man for 20 years. And just now have the revelation that, maybe a Black person should be voicing this character.
That's the new woke. So are you having a sense of clarity now? I mean, because it was clear that it was a Black character from the onset. And so that's where I'm questioning things like, okay, but now you're just to step down, but what about when you knew? And so here you go. So if you have someone in that room, if you have a seat at the table, if you have an executive at the table, that person says, hey, what about, and why are we doing this? Why are we hiring a white person for a role where a Black character or a Black actor can really benefit from? Why are we doing that? And so, but if you don't have someone in that room, if you don't have a decision maker who can give their perspective, then that's what happens. And so in order to make change, all these changes are great, but we really need to go farther and hire people who can be in the room where there's balance.
Yeah. Love that. And I know there's the talk about having a seat at the table and bringing more people of color to the table to have a voice. And as a sort of like counter to that, it's like, we don't want a seat at the table anymore. We just want to create our own table and have our own sort of spaces where we thrive. What are your thoughts on that sort of like point of view? Because I sort of, I guess from my perspective, I see ABFF as like, you guys started your own table and have been doing this, if you will, and sort of thinking about like Oscars So White, and why do we keep holding the Oscars as like the gold standard to validating our art and our community? What's your thought on, is there a balance, having a seat at the table, creating our own table? What should we be focused on, just building our own? Tyler Perry, did his own studios. Like, what should our path be? And of course, you don't have all the answers. No one has all of the answers, but I just love sort of like your thoughts on that.
So my thoughts on that are twofold. I think that, first of all, Tyler Perry is the bomb, because he said, I don't need you, and I'm going to create my own, and I'm going to have more than you. And that's what he did. And so that's pretty amazing. And yes, the reason why ABFF was born was out of, like I said, the necessity for us to create our own stories and have our own platform. And that's what we did. That's one thing. So I think that, yes, we need to have our own, but I also think that we need to be part of what they're doing. We need to be able to have a point of view, a perspective, a platform to make change. I don't think that, and here's the thing, I'm not saying, I don't have anything against the Oscars or Golden Globes or anything like that. They're wonderful. But what I think we need to do, like I mentioned earlier, we have ABFF honors. So Oscars should be, or ABFF honors should be just as important as the Oscars. It shouldn't be less, it shouldn't be any less important. It should be just as important. BET awards should be just as important. You know, all of what we do, NAACP Image Awards should be just as important. I'm not saying that you have your, or they have theirs and we have ours. I think that what we do should be just as important. We should do our own thing, and we should do collaborative things. And what we do should be just as important. And when you talk about, so then if you're talking about the honors or ABFF honors or NAACP Image Awards or any of those award shows or platforms, you also have to have gatekeepers who deem those things as important. Because if they don't, then when we go to ask, well, can we honor this person? We would like to honor this person. They don't say, well, what is that again? Because it's not on the same level as an Oscars, or it's not on the same level as a Golden Globes. It is. It's just as important.
Mm-hmm. How do we love that? How do we? I think because for so long the gatekeepers, if you will, to these sort of like prestigious awards and honors have sort of othered sort of like Black spaces for so long, that I think the societal mindset was that we also thought that, you know, Oscars were up here and maybe Image Awards were down here. How do we as a community change our mindset to leveling the playing field as well, and holding them all to the same sort of like esteem? Because I do think there's probably work that we can do on our side too as a community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that talent needs to make it very clear to their gatekeepers. Well, two things. Talent, we have the power, Black people have the power to hire other Black people.
Ooh, say that. Can you say that one more time? Just repeat it, please. That was a quotable.
Talent, we have the power to hire other Black people. We don't have to go to them. I won't name all the other PR agencies or the management companies that represent Black talent, because, you know, when you have someone like a Denzel Washington, or you have someone like a Kevin Hart, or a Tiffany Haddish, or, you know, when you have these high power, Morgan Freeman, high power Black people who can make change, if their representation is Black, then guess what? They're going to make sure that they're represented at Black important events.
Yeah.
If their representation is Black, if their representation is non-Black, and they don't then tell their non-Black representatives, this is important, these things are important, you need to know about this, make sure I'm here for this. If they don't do that, then those things are not important. But they have a lot of power. If Denzel Washington says to his publicist or to his manager, I have to be at ABFF honors, he's going to be at ABFF honors. It's going to be important. Their representative then knows about ABFF honors. If he doesn't say anything, or if he says, you know, if anything Black comes across the table, if there are any asks that come across the table, any requests, then please let me know about them. Because I do think that there are times when, if it's not on their radar, if it's not important, them meaning the representative, if it's not important to them, then they may or may not ask their talent. It never gets to them. Mm-hmm. I don't know that for a fact. This is just what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. But it may not, if the ask may not get to them. You know, so I think that their representatives have to be educated, have to be schooled if they're non-Black. If they are Black, then the Black people have to deem what other Black people do, other Black platforms are important, because we have the power to make what we do as important as what they do. And sometimes we don't do that because we're reaching for that Oscar, or we're reaching for that Golden Globe or that Emmy. But ABFF honors is just as important. That award and honors is just as important. That award at NAACP awards is just as important. You know, we honored Ice Cube a couple of years ago at honors, and there's a clip, and it was actually posted on our platform recently. There's a clip where he says, you know, I don't want no other award. This is the most important award, and you know, that sort of thing. It's like so many views, and so that has to be real, though.
Yeah.
Not and again, not to say I don't want no other. I think they all should be important. I think Oscars should be important. I think honors should be important. I think they all should be important because we are telling you, those who are being who are winning awards or who are being honored, we're telling you that we admire you, we respect you, we adore you, we like your work, you're doing a good job, keep it up. That's what it's telling you. So who doesn't want to be honored at a prestigious platform? I think what we do is just as prestigious as what the Oscars does.
It is. It is completely.
I might be a little biased.
No, it is, and it should be just as important. And I love that we have the power to hire Black representation, and we have the power to tell our representation, even if they aren't Black, like these Black platforms are important to me, and hold your representation accountable to ensure that the playing field is leveled. So I love that. That's how I feel so strongly about that. And I just want everyone to know that you do have that power to see those things. So, yeah. I have a question for you, more of just like, you went through a couple of opportunities or initiatives that you have coming up. I know ABFF is going digital, you said in August 31st?
August 21st to the 30th.
August 21st through the 30th. How can someone get involved if they wanted to partner, and sort of what things should potential thinking about sort of like our members and those in the PR and marketing field looking to reach a Black audience? Like, what things should we have lined up and ready for you before we reach out to ABFF for partnership and sponsorship?
Well, in terms of sponsorship, we have several opportunities that are available. We have what we started since this pandemic is we started something called ABFF Insider, where there are marketing opportunities because everything has been closed. You know, the theaters and streaming companies seem to be doing pretty well right now, but there's no way to market your film, whether it's going to a streaming service or or if there's some other platform that you're going to present it on. But we offer this ABFF Insider Marketing opportunity where we will certainly promote your project, whether it's we've done things with Hulu with Little Fires Everywhere. We've done things with Insecure. We've done things with The Good Fight. And we're actually, next week, we're going to promote, do marketing, I should say, for Hamilton. Hamilton is coming out on Disney Plus on July 3rd. Excuse me. And so Renee Elise Goldsberry is going to come on ABFF Insider. So not only do we do the interviews on our live platform, on Instagram live platform, but we also market the film or the project to our database. And we have over 300,000, I think it's more than that actually, people in our database. So that's through social media. That's also through, direct mail, like Constant Contacts, those type of things. And of course, we'll put it up on our website. And so there's an opportunity there for ABFF Insider Marketing. There's an opportunity for sponsoring the festival right now, where you can sponsor. We have different panels called Business of Entertainment Seminars. So we have sponsors like Netflix who are hosting a panel to talk about what they're doing over at Netflix, or to talk about what's happening at Amazon, or sometimes another opportunity is where they want to maybe promote their upcoming project. So Amazon has something that's going on, which has been pushed back. A lot of things have been pushed back, unfortunately, but they're coming out with a documentary with Mary J. Blige, for example, called My Life. That's been pushed back to, I think, February now, but Mary J. Blige is the ambassador of this year. So we're, so very excited about that. But there are opportunities for companies to sponsor panels, to bring their film for a clips and conversation if they don't want to do the whole film. But they can show clips and then have a conversation with a filmmaker or an actor from that project. So there are opportunities there. In terms of public relations, what we're also going to do, because we're virtual, we normally have press junkets that take place live at the festival, and that won't happen because we won't be in Miami, but we will have a virtual press junket for PR companies who want to either cover the festival or who want to cover a particular panel or conversation that's happening at the festival. So those are some opportunities that we have. One of the other things that we've been doing, this is not really, well, I guess, it probably could be at some point, but we do something called ABFF Movie Monday, where every Monday we have an independent film, or a short film, I should say, a short film that came through the festival. Many of them are winners, but they were at least one of the 5 from previous years that came through the festival. We show that film, or we put that film on our platform every Monday morning, and it's up for the entire week. And Monday evening, we do a conversation or a talk back with the filmmaker. So like this week is a short film called Flight. And so it will drop, it'll drop, or it'll be available on Monday morning, tomorrow. And then Monday evening at 9 Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll have a conversation with the filmmaker from that film. So HBO is the sponsor of that particular project because it's from the HBO, it's from the collection of HBO short film competition.
Okay. So quite a few opportunities to partner coming up. A question that I do want to ask, and something that we kind of briefly talked about, because of the pandemic, a lot of companies and clients have reassessed, readjusted, pulled back, scaled back budgets just across the board for marketing. How should people wanting to partner with ABFF think about that now that they may be working with maybe less of a budget, if you will? What is the best way to approach you all? Are you guys willing to work with potential partners and figure out what makes sense? I guess what should we do?
We have different levels. We have different levels of partnership, but we also will do a customized level, depending on your budget and depending on what it is you're looking to do. I mean, like I said, there are opportunities with ABFF marketing, ABFF Insider Marketing. There's opportunities there. If your budget is more frugal, there are opportunities to sponsor or to bring a panel, or there's also virtual expo. We're going to do a virtual expo, so there may be an opportunity there. There may be an opportunity to sponsor a networking event, virtual, that we're doing. So there's opportunity. If you're interested, contact us. We will have a conversation about it for sure, and just see what your ideas are.
Yeah. Love that. And then what is the best way to contact you? Just go to the ABFF website, or?
You can go to abff.com, or you can always email us at info@abffventures.com. But if you forget that, you can always go to abff.com and just click on the sponsorship icon, and then it will direct you to where you need to go.
Amazing. I think those were all of my questions. Any last words from you before we wrap up? We talked about a lot of great things. One being the importance of kind of Black organizations and companies and platforms such as ABFF being at the center of talking to our audience and reaching our audience, and 2, around sort of like the need to change the perspective of kind of Black platforms to have them at the same field as white platforms. Anything else that you wanted to add? Any closing thoughts before we wrap up today?
No, I do want to say that ABFF Online Edition will be free. So definitely check us out and just continue to tune in on our social media platforms and also on abff.com to find out more information. And again, the dates are August 21st to the 30th.
Amazing. Well, I will be tuned in. I am sad that I Wasn't in Miami this year, but I will be tuned in and continued support of you all and the work that you do. And I want to thank you again so much for your time today and for your thoughts, and look forward to continued partnership.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Marissa. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.